Let's imagine a world where you build a protect the Jinx comp and the Jinx starts getting fed really early in the game. I want to get opinions on what could happen.
You lose. The enemy
no,
team.
No, you build the Jinx.
the enemy team. That is.
It was so easy.
I like being a menace. 5-0 early start there for Jinx. Yeah, that felt pretty doomed. I will give it to natives. They actually did an okay job of surviving a little bit later into that game. Where, you know, we started to see a couple of good picks coming through. They're actually taking some towers. It felt like the snowball didn't completely run away with them. The problem is they stopped the smaller snowball, and then the 10-0 Jinx snowball started rolling right towards them, and they had no answer to it. Mikhail's rush on Ivern. You got to get through an Aatrox. You got to get through a Nautilus. You don't have a single fed member. That just felt pretty doomed for natives. I will say, though, Painful on the Zed had that one really sick play in top lane, just between tier 1 and tier 2, where he got an execution off. I saw life from natives, but man, Verdant did everything to smother that out.
And that was all due to that Jinx. You built the Jinx, you protect the Jinx. It was like a composition all around the Jinx. Let's talk with Jinx. Let's talk with X-Drop. He's waiting for us. X-Drop, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. You played so well, and you know who's the MVP?
Is it the dopamine? Or...
It's Kamski. No, what do you have to say about that? I mean,
yeah,
come on.
I mean, I get it. He's Portuguese, right? Like Portuguese people.
Yes!
MVP every game. So.
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, so now let's talk about the game itself. You got the Jinx. I mean, how happy were you? Were like, oh, okay, we have a protected Jinx. I need to get fed. Boom, 5 kills.
Yeah, I mean, I think big credits to Comsky. I must say, I think. I didn't play last split. I was coaching last split, so for me, like this game, it was a bit of like I had to get back into it. But yeah, Kamsky was really decisive in lane. He was playing really well in Nautilus, and he got me a head start with the double kill. And I think from that moment on, I started to get more into it, start to feel some more confidence. And yeah, I mean, it's great, right? Getting so fat on a comp when I know my champ has so many tools to help me out. So yeah, I think it was a really nice start, and it gave me a lot of confidence in the game. So,
tell me something extra. You have some sort of synergy with Kamski.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kamski. I played against him a bunch. I played against him like for a full year. But not only that, I've met him as well. Like when we had offline finals, Kamski and I, actually fun story. I met him before a lot of my own teammates because we went to have dinner the night before together.
Oh.
So that was really fun. So yeah, there's some pre-existing synergy there, like from our LPLO days. And yeah, I love playing with Kamsky. I think he's a great guy. He's really good support as well, and I think he showed it in this game as well. Like he brings a lot to the team.
So when you look into this team, the Verdant team, how do you feel like the team will do through this entire split? This will be the last question for you. How do you feel this will go moving on in the split? How comfortable you are?
I mean, I think we already proved, or improved, we have improved some things from yesterday to today. But I think you see it in this game, we still have some struggles. I mean, I think Natives did well punishing us on side lane, but I think it goes to show as well that we aren't a perfect team by any means, right? We make a lot of mistakes as well. But I have confidence that we will be able to overcome those mistakes and become a great team. And I think, yeah, we have a really good shot at fighting for playoffs. And then come playoffs, once we're qualified, we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, I think we'll do really well.
I love it. You were a beast in this game. Congratulations on your first W. Best of luck through the entire split. I wish to meet you again. And I'll see you soon, man. Have a nice one.
Yeah, you too.
You didn't ask. You didn't ask what him and Kamsky went on 8. I was very curious about that. That's all I cared about. What they had for dinner when they went out for a meal together.
They were in Portugal, so obviously francesinha.
Which one's that?
You had it with me. Our first date.
Is it the big stack of cheese and meat?
Yes.
That is a bussin' dish. That's so good.
Go.
The food is so good. I just wanted to know. Like,
synergy.
yeah.
I feel like a third wheel here. Everyone else having
carbs.
cheese and meat.
It's
Archer's just good on dates, bro. That's it.
I can explain to you the dish, and it's like you go to space. And talking about let's talk to space is on the next interview. He's waiting for
That's the worst bro.
Space, welcome to the interview. Pleasure to meet you
Hello,
as well.
hello.
I love that doll back there. What's that elephant? Does it have a story? I'm committed
Oh,
to
it's
that
for
one.
my birthday. It has like a button with.
It has a
It
button.
has it has a
That's
button and it
massive!
normally just starts singing, but
But
it's
now it
out of
doesn't.
battery, so I can't show you it. Wait,
That was anticlimactic.
ah,
Does he sing?
yeah, it's not working. It's not working.
So that's the best way to introduce you, Spice. Welcome to this
Yeah, yeah.
one. I mean, this was not the best game for you guys. You knew you had to kill the Jinx, and she got ahead so early. As an AD carry, you know, like, I have to step up, but I don't have the required tools to do it. How do I help my team when there's a fat Jinx?
Yeah, I got like I didn't really know what to do at a certain point anymore when we were hard playing for top lane, like, and that was our game plan. But we fucked up 2v2 on bot lane. Like, shit happens, you know. Things happen. I mean, and then we had to like put more resources bot lane to fix our lane, which was like not in our game plan, and that made the game quite difficult.
So tell me something, Spice. Bad early start for the league. Doesn't matter. What can we expect from week 2 on? Because I know Natives has a lot of firepower. You guys have a lot of firepower. So what would you say to someone that is watching that is a Natives fan and is like, wait, chill, don't worry, we got this. What do you have?
Oh yeah, we have way more in store because we haven't even started cooking our drafts yet. Like, if anyone knows me and Ball, because we played together before, we are like known for like playing Kalista Rek'Sai bot lane, Yasuo Sejuani bot lane. We play Ziggs Tristana bot lane. We cook all kinds of stuff. So we thought we start the league with like normal picks and see how it goes, but maybe we have to start cooking already.
Let's do an agreement. So, cook for the next week, put some batteries on that thing, and come back to the interview. Is that a deal?
Yeah, I'll put some batteries in the elephant.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Spice. Lovely to see you, man. Have a best luck. I'll see you soon, man. Have a nice one.
Yeah, see you soon.
He did the thing! He did the thing! I'm just happy.
Yeah, I'm glad for you, bro. You know, you're getting those wins in. That's all that matters, isn't it?
No more Francesinha for you, okay? No more Francesinha.
I miss it.
Versus Ruddy.
Yeah, moving on.
We're cooking. Okay.
This is
What
the
can
one
you
I'm
expect?
really excited for. This is.
And why? Because it's the match of the day, Carmens. Tell me
Did
why.
you see the games yesterday these two played? We had Zac support, we had Tryndamere mid, Ziggs bot, and Varus top lane. These two are the most exciting teams that we have to offer in Division 1, in my opinion, just due to the craziness they pull out in Champion Select. Fruity Fresh and Sumi being promoted from Division 2, they already are known to throw out some interesting picks, including Aurelion Sol bot lane, Aurelia mid in official competitive League of Legends games, and Ruddy, they need to be prepared for this stuff that LLS is throwing at them.
You know what else they need? They need pictures. It's
Yeah,
the
they
second
really do.
split without a single picture. That's
Come
a Don
on,
Jake
Don
thing.
Jake.
You know that's a Don Jake
Yeah.
thing.
So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Ruddy, they won yesterday's game. However,
Oh.
I would say they didn't look infallible. They were pretty far ahead, and they were still getting challenged. They were losing certain 5v5s as well. So I think that's what makes this exciting. Lightside lost their game yesterday. There was a lot of light from Lightside. They did have a pretty hard game. They were playing versus DMG, and DMG played that game very, very well as well. So it was a really cool game to watch. I'm really excited to see how these two go toe to toe, because I think Ruddy looked good, but I didn't think they looked amazing yesterday. And I know that even though I put them as my top 3 earlier, or in my top 3 earlier, I do think there's room to grow. I think the foundation's very good, but while we're on this unsteady ground, I think this is actually going to be a really fun matchup.
This is going to be a fun matchup. We see the Tristana already locked in. Insane priority, especially for a team like LLS, where Fruity Fresh loves playing those AP champions down on the bot side of the map. But Ruddy have an advantage of their own, and that is in Kitoroken being in the jungle, and the only one to show so far that he's adapted to the AP jungle metagame, pulling out the Karthus previously, and expecting him to have more of these prepped things like the Brand have escaped the draft that were banned against him previously. But the Caitlyn already locked in, one of the more powerful AD carries on the patch.
I will say as well, Casante's up for the first time, so you could also pick that up as a pretty comfortable top laner for either Elisha or for Built. So there is a bit of flex there in that play. I'm curious to see what Ruddy do lock in here. If they decide to go, so they go for Alex and give him the Tristana, the Taliyah mid as an answer for that Tristana. Now we'll go over to light side. Probably going to see an ADC and maybe a support here. I mean, the Huawei flexible pick as well can go mid, can go support, and there's the Casante as well. With that being left open, made perfect sense.
That's
Hip Brain, you are unaware. This way, almost 100% guaranteed is going to the AD carry position.
Oh, yes,
Fruity
it does
Fresh.
go down there as well. You
It
are
is
right.
Fruity Fresh down there.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. I forget he plays these AP bot laners.
It's a cooker. There's a lot of cooking in the league right now, and they have like Wei, Tristana, and Casante. That is a scary bunch. When you look at Ruddy, though, you have Caitlyn, the AD carry of 14.10, and then you have two massive champions going alongside with that one. I think we're getting the best of the best in terms of champion picks, and this will come down to player skill, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think just looking towards this ban phase, I'd like to see Lightside ban the Rumble away. Obviously, Kit Rukin, we know, likes to play these AP mid junglers, but you could just force him onto something like a Sejuani, some kind of frontliner, and then give a Rumble over to Built. And then you have something that can handle this Casante lane, because at the moment it feels like not many things can handle it, and that is one of those champs that does. Nautilus pick up, Thresh ban, really, really big, because like you're saying, if Fruity Fresh is playing this Huawei in the bot side, that it's a bit like the Aphelios. You have a champion who has a lantern who can then bail out an immobile squishy target. And when you got the Nautilus, when you got the Caitlyn, you do not want to be getting held down for too long, because you will get absolutely obliterated. And you can see Ruddy banning away things that can engage onto their Caitlyn as well.
Another thing that LLS has to worry about, Build is, again, known for cooking. Both of the Ruddy mid and top laner can do some interesting stuff. The pick I'm looking at, considering they already have plenty of CZ coming from Nautilus and Taliyah, they could even pull out something like a Garen here, just to have a hard lane counter to this Casante up in the top side of the map.
They absolutely could.
I like that idea. Maybe even Darius, if you want to be crazy. Wei doesn't have a lot of...
AP Nasus? AP Nasus? Is it the AP?
Oh.
With a new item as well.
You could Blackfire Torch Leandries it. That is genuinely an option. Wait, hold on. We might have to remove
this. No, it's still in the afternoon. This is not during the night. We can't show this sort of cooking. Too much cooking.
That was a client issue.
No, but it would have been so hype. We had Nasus with the Blackfire Torch, Leandry into full tank. I've seen it pop up in solo queue every now and then.
Okay, I'm getting some information right now. So Lightside saw Nasus and they decided to dodge queue. We'll have to rearrange a new opponent. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're just restarting the champion selectors in this weekend. Don't worry.
I'm assuming that Nasus was a I can't remember, like a proxy pick.
A placeholder or a proxy.
Placeholder, that's the one. Yeah. So I hope it's a Nasus top, but like realistically, I think you're probably not going towards that. As much as the full AP Nasus sounds genuinely hilarious to play and watch.
Yeah.
I think into a Casante, I guess you get a lot of shove, but like, what value do you really bring off that?
What value it brings? It brings the fact that you have first strike to farm off of a melee champion that needs to shove in with Q and W if he ever wants to give the lane shoved in, and then you have just a wither bot onto whoever tries to auto attack on the enemy team, just providing additional front line. And it's surprisingly good. Please trust me on this. The Nasus can work wonders if the game lets him.
Especially versus the Tristana. In my opinion, like, Tristana goes in with the rocket jump, gets the Q, gets a lot of attack speed, you wither that, and Tristana is like, my gun is not gunning, I need help, I need to run away, but you can't because you're withered away. So there's some cooking there, yeah.
So I was right, it was actually a Rumble. The Nasus was a placeholder for the Rumble. So as fun as the Nasus could have been, the days of Kerberos being in this league are long since gone. And that was the last time I think we saw a Nasus or even a Kale getting played. I mean, he was an old school Kale player as well, which was very fun. But I think the Rumble definitely makes more sense. You offer a lot more to team fights other than, you know, a wither onto a particular target you want to pick off. The Rumble ult melts for everybody if you can layer it right. And, you know, I'm trying to remember what else they picked. They had like the Nautilus, so you can kind of get the group
Caitlyn and
knock up.
Talia.
Yeah, it makes. The big thing, and this is actually something Foxy talked about, that you have like this zone of control with a Nautilus where it's actually as wide as his hook goes. Because if you walk into that range, you will get hooked. And Talia offers into that as well, where it's not just that, but when a fight breaks out, you've got to worry about the range of a Nautilus hook. You've got to worry about the Unraveled Earth, which shuts down dashes and flashes and things like that. Then you've got the Rumble ult, which is also going to make a zone of control. What Ruddy have put together is a fight team which controls an area and then makes it very hard to get onto the Caitlyn. Because the biggest weakness of Caitlyn is a bit like a champion like a Felios. She doesn't really have any mobility. She has a 90 cal net, but it's nothing major. So you have to get through Talia Unraveled Earth. You got to get through Nautilus. You're going to have to get through the Rumbler. And then maybe if there's like a Sejuani or something like that as their jungler on top of that, it then becomes even harder to pick off that Caitlyn. So I really like what Ruddy have drafted here. They do have range though. Hui has an unbelievable amount of reach in some of his spells, so you can whittle Nata down using the Hui.
There we go. Rumble is the pick, just as we debated a little bit earlier. So they have to reveal the entire hand now for light side. Carvers, tell me, you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm trying to wonder what they go for the support, because there is still the possibility that this Hui is going into the mid lane just to challenge the possible Talia mid lane matchup. The Rel doesn't tell us anything just yet. The Rel pairs up well with the Hui, can lock people up into the full spell rotation. Whoa, okay, Gragas.
Gragas jungle. Been a hot minute since I've seen that one. He has somewhat made a bit of a return. But I've seen more of a laning Gragas than a jungle Gragas. So interesting to see that.
Rel can still go to jungle, no?
No,
no, they nerfed it heavily.
I know,
yeah,
so
they
you
really
can't pull
nerfed
that
it
off. Yeah.
I mean, you can, but like you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. Never mind. That would be too much cooking. I was just.
They haven't been cooking, mate. They've been drinking, hence the Gragas.
Jace being the final lock-in to head into the mid lane. So Talia sticks to the jungle. I'm really interested by this Rel Gragas rotation when you already see there is a Talia on the enemy team. Very dash reliant on the engage. You would need to find a long range barrel to make use without risking your own life for the engage. And with the Jace, now they get some additional poke onto this Hui, who will try and secure an advantage for LLS in the objectives.
I will say...
So we got both teams? Tell me, Hipran. Final words.
The Talia also plays into the strength of Ruddy's comp, where you've got mobile champions like the Hui. You're suddenly cutting off exits. So then you've got to work through all of this zone of control. I know what you're asking. I favour Ruddy in this game. I think their draft is really, really solid, and I don't know if Lightside have enough answers to be able to deal with what Ruddy put together.
Carvers, do let me know.
Well, I do have to go with Ruddy as well here. I think the Talia is the crutch that really messes up with LLS's game plan. If they can play around it, they may have a chance, but Ruddy looks good.
They look really good in Champions Select. Let's see how they fare inside of the Rift, or if LLS will be able to get their first victory on the split. It's Summer Split. It's time to bring in the hot. So let's bring in Veteran and Initialize.
Welcome back, everybody. The Rubik's Cube continues to be messed around with by Veteran, who has solved
it. And the fidgeter.
In
dedicated
rapid fashion.
Fidgeter.
Hell, yes, but think about this game a little bit as well in terms of we've got ourselves a slightly different look again. We were quite excited about the Nasus for a second, but instead what we've got is a bit of a siege comp from Ruddy with an obscene amount of range into something more of a hard engage frontline kind of combo from the side of LLS.
I love the implication of like a melee range siege composition existing from what you said, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, it is a really strong siege comp that they have going. Obviously, with Talia Rumble, you don't have to be playing all the way up. You can even have Talia playing at an angle, but if she plays straight front to back with the rest of her team, she's a really good poke part of that composition under any tower setup. But she can also isolate to allow you to go for that tower whenever push comes to shove, or isolate for that dive. She has really good tools here. Rumble as well, right? They have really good tools to split up their opponents underneath that tower, to have constant threat against their opponents underneath that tower, so the pressure is entirely on light side to be able to do something here. They have to find those engage moments, because if these guys just exist, you know, that game is going in their favor, slowly but surely.
And in fairness to them, they have got a lot of tools to make that happen, you know. Rel, the Gragas, the Xante, lots of ways to try and make the pick happen. Even things like, of course, like the Hui have ways of adding in a bit of extra CC, and certainly got the follow-up. But as you're kind of noting, like, they are obligated to make the engage happen. Because if they don't, they're just going to sit there and eat shock blasts and threaded volleys and all the rest of the poke coming at them, and that's going to be a pretty miserable time.
Yep, and Caitlyn, right? Caitlyn's going to charge up a headshot. She gets one of those. That's 50% of your HP gone, and R comes out. That's gone. Your mate stepped on a trap. Oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't exist anymore, you know? Like, all of this stuff adds more and more pressure. It's a very high pressure comp, which means you're likely to see that role being utilized a lot, especially once the last chapter comes in for the Hui on the bot lane. They have to engage. So for any of my hashtag keep gambling guys in the chat, this is probably a really high kill game of League of Legends coming in, or it's a ruddy stomp. No in between.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. And I think as well, before we keep talking about this, I did just get word from production, there is a slight pause in game. So actually, never mind that. I did just get word. The pause is over. I call it, and the magic happens. Let's go to the Rift. And on to the Rift we go. Pause swiftly dealt with. I tell you, sometimes cast a curses work in your favour. Nothing super spicy here at the level 1, as Veteran was chuckling at my expense in the background there, and rightly so. Gets us onto the Rift earlier.
Hey, I was laughing at the circumstance, mate, not at you. Okay, the circumstance is extremely funny.
It was very funny, it's true. Nothing. There is a little bit of a stack here from Ruddy, wondering whether they're about to look for a late invade with the Nautilus.
Yeah, or just defending against a potential invade with the Rel, one of the best level 1 champions in the game. True. Nautilus, though, lands that hook. You've got the same thing, so no stack from light side.
Flash pops. That's rough, especially when you're into the Nautilus. Foodie Fresh being down a key summoner before the lane even begins.
Yep. Turning into a lane stop scenario. Remember, both Nautilus as well have power, but now Nautilus's team has all the power in addition with that flash burn. Let's see if they can use it. Sumi's here first.
He's got himself the explosive charge, trying to get the root.
Oh no!
It gets it in. Damage onto Sumi. Flash over the wall. Alaric low. Damage back is huge. Gets first. Nata just takes no prisoners. Another for Alex. Fast-legged low. Does get out. Finally, Foodie Fresh gets one back. The teleport's coming back on through as the respawns are in. Foodie Fresh gets a double without the flash, but it's still a 3 for 2 in favor of Ruddy. Somehow, some way, Alex has a bomb put on top of him, but the penguin blows up and some spatulas are there because, my god, have we been cooking at the level 1.
Yeah, Nata looking to try to get AD as early as possible. Hui actually able to get that back into itemization, into going into lane. Going to try to keep Caitlyn in there as long as possible to use this advantage. But that advantage is nothing if the Rel can't get in there and help set up for the Hui. Right? You do want this Caitlyn to get back. Caitlyn wants to go for a BF sword. Hui wants to try to get a lost chapter as early as possible. But right now, when you have this kind of an advantage, the question is, can you realistically push it at this point with a full combo? We're only level 1. We're quite far away from a full combo. This is normally why you don't see APs on the bot lane. Nautilus, though, a behemoth level 1 does land the hook. No flashes available for LLS. If either of these guys land, it's going to be very, very damaging. But you still have to think, with the relative strengths early, even with that item, it's going to be more damaging for the side that has the Caitlyn.
Definitely dangerous. Good damage onto Nata, but the turnaround hook is also pretty solid. Lands a Piltover Peacemaker afterwards as well. And Nata, a player who, the last time we saw him in the NLC was back in 2022 spring, over on X7. And his ability to play through the lane aggressively was really, really good. It was more that later stage where it became a little bit more volatile, but giving 2 kills over to someone who knows how to pressure lane is a pretty scary prospect. At least Fruity Fresh, despite burning the flash right at the beginning of the play, picks up a few kills of his own.
Yep, I mean, when it comes to Nat as well, even before that, he had a phenomenal split in the LVP. I think he was extremely underrated when he was there. One of the most singularly impactful players in the league.
Nice engage onto Alex. There's no way out here. Tries to get some damage back, but it's a wonderful gank bid on a slightly odd timing. Only a few camps cleared and just finds his way in mid lane beyond Alex's expectations. Even with the ward there, I think it must have been a body slam over the Iron Pit wall to get in the background there.
Yep, Sumi doesn't have teleport, so there could be an angle for some kind of denial with Jace coming in first, especially if Jace is able to interrupt Tristana here. Just barely doesn't on the mini-map there, but that would have been absolutely huge. Decent play there, though, from Alaric. And speaking of impact, Alex, one of the most impactful players that Ruddy had in the last split, if not the most impactful one overall. But a lot of that was on his bread-and-butter melee-based champions. An extremely aggressive player, doesn't seem to know the existence of safe ranges. He just tries to make it more unsafe for his opponents. And right there, he stole it!
It's on Vision as well, so he does it with a shot. You feel really good about that. That's actually a solid chunk of gold for a mid laner.
Yep. And that previous play there, though, you see the double-edged sword that Alex can sometimes be. It looks like LLS will be trying to break the game open in that mid-section.
It's already been a bloody game. You kind of prophesied it might well be, and it has been the level 1. Ready, some of the gold leads kind of mitigated by all the blood, even if it is nominal ones towards Ruddy, but not really anything to write home about. All the while, though, the pressure in the lanes is still there, so they will turn over towards this early dragon and secure it without too much of a look in from LLS.
Yep, they have pressure on that mid lane. They have pressure on the bot lane with that BF sword coming out of Nata. That BF sword doesn't make Nata any tankier. Only effectively so, because being up there and taking too many autos, or even just one big headshot, is going to be enough to do significant damage to Fruity Fresh. But with that flash coming in, we could see a potential play from Fast-Legged at about the 8-minute mark.
I reckon so is Bartoldi, so Alex needs to be really careful about stepping forward. Nearly gets the kill, but the damage back is huge. Alaric tried to make it happen, but the timing was all well read, and Bartoldi a much cleaner game than yesterday, where he was feeling a little lost on the map on that Sejuani.
Yeah, but Alaric delaying Sumi's recall again, because now you have to stay for this additional wave to get it in, and this means Jace may have the opportunity to try to play back again into Sumi, and that will at the very least get him a wave of priority, and we could see what he does with it as Talia enter clear towards topside, and those grubs are open, and Mumble seems to be on the slow push. So could all be about to pop off around those grubs on the top side.
And Bartoldi, of course, spent significant amount of time around mid lane at the expense of his camps as well. So is actually in an odd position CS-wise. Needs to be very afraid here. Has no flash, has no ultimate, of course, gets shoved back. Gonna try and play this one up best they can. Gets a knock on with the cast, but I think they're just dead to rights. Bill picks that one up, and a little bit greedy going for the grubs there.
Yep, very, very telegraphed there. There's nothing for... I'm going to be terrible at pronouncing your name, I apologize. Couture Kenta Fear, given that the Tristana's recall was delayed and Jace had all priority on the mid lane there, and Rumble had the slow push on top. Perfect circumstances to do the grubs if you are the Talia. Unfortunately, not if you're Bartholdi on the Gragas, as he's summarily discovered.
I told he's going to find the fact that Talia's in his jungle. There's a ward there. There's a smite available for Katurikan as well, so this should just be an easy Gromp take. Going to try and punish the Talia running away, and decides she can't stay to finish off the Gromp. A more wise person than I tend to stay for the Grump and die, but that says exactly what kind of elo I am, so we'll leave that one as it lies. No. Sumi taking the opportunity to roam in and put a ward down by the Raptors, and Fast-Legged is here as well on the Rel, which feels somewhat apt considering the name.
Indeed, I am looking at bot lane though. That is quite a high damage pairing with the economy accelerated on both sides there. That Hui has come in with. Flash is now both up on him and Fast-Legged, and level 6 on Fruity Fresh.
Elijah goes all out, but there's going to be so much damage back. It's going to get very close. Gets over the wall. Can look to come back over. Flash for flash. There's not quite an equalizer available, so the summoners are popped. No one dies.
No one dies, but Elijah's much more comfortable on the wave right now there. Rumble, though. Rumble feels he can just get the recall and that he may be able to be back on time despite the lack of TP. Is Alex going to get all in?
He is, but Katurikan
Yes.
is here, and I think just showed there's a ward in the bush anyway, so Sumi doesn't overchase.
Yeah. Sumi doesn't overchase, but Alex does look like he's trying to recall.
He's going to be in a lot of danger. Flashes away, flash
Dead.
forwards, gets the kill. Should still be a
There.
trade back, surely. More
hello.
threaded volume, but it's a bad angle. And Sumi gets to walk away. Now Bartoldi's here. Misses a seismic shove. Can look to get a barrel slow. There's a cask afterwards, forces the flash out of the Talia. Great sequence from Lightside.
Yep, a lot of new ERL players and a lot of new ERL mid laners trying to make name for themselves on the Tristana. We have Vigil over in the Italian League, for example, having some phenomenal all-in timings on the Tristana. With Sumi, he's finding really good all-ins, but he's much more conscientious of jungle and of this kind of stuff than the other new breed of Tristanas we're seeing. Very, very good markings of an all-round mid laner coming in from Sumi in this game.
And the vision control around mid lane has been really difficult for Alex in particular to deal with. His control was ever, and Bartoldi's back again. He's just not left.
Wow. Why even bother if Alex is going to do this on repeat? This does feel like a game plan coming in, but also they're playing around the opportunities that Sumi is bringing up. Alex is able to interrupt some resets, but Sumi and Bartoldi, they're working extremely well together. And again, a different form than the other new breed of Tristana that we've been having in all of the other leagues, and one that indicates a level of team play that you do want to be able to have at this level, right? That's going to be the differentiating factor as we get later on in the season. As bot lane, maybe they're waiting for Falsigan to get to 6, but we aren't yet seeing the heavy all-in coming in with this item. On one full item right now, and now Caitlyn gets that recall on the BF and the Dirk. She's going to be extremely powerful when she comes back into the lane.
And you got to call it out as well. Like, Alex is being left out a little bit to dry here as well. Like, the wave was shoved on the tower, Talia was there, but the control was on either side of the lane. And every time he looks to try and deal with them, there's someone there to manage it. It's very difficult, and we haven't really seen Turrican or Alaric there on great timings, and Bartoldi has just sat there and punished. And you called it out, the game plan. It's working out pretty well. It's kept the gold lead actually towards Lightside's favour, despite that messy level 1. And now that Tristana, oh so dangerous, from a lead 3-1 and 3... going to be hitting some scary item breakpoints at a very fast clip.
Because they keep fighting, though, right? Inactivity is death if you are Lightside. They say a sedentary lifestyle can kill you, and it could absolutely lose Lightside the game, so they have had to take the bull by the horns, and they've been going all in all the time, and it's been working out for them. I guarantee you it's worked out much better than if they'd sat there being poked out in mid, being poked out in top, being waiting for the Talia to make group plays with the R that you just can't match. They have to make sure RUD are out of sync, and the best way to do that is make sure some of them are looking at a grey screen.
Managing that pretty well. The problem is, because of course of the early Dragon
the
stake,
time.
they get two massive all in with the Magnet Storm. Katurikan big pass afterwards into the flash body slam. But just doesn't miss. Sumi hops on board, and Alex is dead again. A rampage for the Tristana, and Lightside punish the Dragon Star.
Hang on. All my points on, buddy.
I know, me too.
We can't have. Oh, that's fine then. It's all good. So long as you're going down with me, I'm fine to go down with
thanks,
this
Captain, my Captain. I went off this ship, thanks.
We're all going down with the ship, baby. Today we're all honourable. As RUD are absolutely struggling. Nata, good on KDA here, decent on items, but Hui was the big victor of that fight. +1 kill for the Tristana, but Hui really cleaned up there. 3-1 and 2 now. Very much past the portion of the lane where she's going to be struggling. Now you're worried, will RUD get that set up later on? But if you're putting them behind in fights, you may be able to put them behind on the map, and if you do so, they never get that siege grouping you're very worried about, albeit not in a situation where you don't feel like you have the damage to go all in all the time. None of these kills are going on towards the well. A couple are going on the Gragas, none on the Cassante. I mean, let's be real, top lane doesn't even exist. None on the Cassante. They're all going on these big damage dealers that have to get their big damage out in a very short period of time, because that's the win condition for Lightside.
So far, so good is what you like to see. RUD now trying to potentially put a little bit of pressure down towards his bot lane. Katurikan is here, could look to wall off. The Grogs are being done by Bartoldi, and Katurikan continues to play the farm game, and is, in fairness, gaining a significant CS advantage himself, but that was an interesting hook into the turret. Let's take a fair chunk from the Severing Bolt. There's the ace in the hole, fast-legged, eats that one up with the shield on the dismount from the crash down.
the damage from Fruity Fresh, so you can see what could happen if it's ever followed up on, which is why you really love, and this is consistent with all AP champs, the one advantage that you get in bot is that you guarantee get all of your spells out on one full combo, so long as you're paired with a support like this.
Oh,
here we go.
Try and jump away, but there's just so much damage. Knocks away one, doesn't have the flash, misses the shock blast, and he's dead to rights. Just walks over from grubs. It's a bit disappointing, Alex. Looking a little bit lost this game. I've said that phrase a few times across today, but it's feeling more and more true. Built in a 1v1 versus Elijah, who goes all out. Built now about to be discollected as he does throw down the ignite. The damage back into the equalizer means he wins the 1v1 though. That's what Ruddy needed, a little bit of light in the darkness.
Yep, I mean, Built, he's able to give some hope back towards his team, as Alex is reminding me a lot of those PG Proving Grounds games that I had to watch when he debuted back in spring. I remember particularly he had a really funny Irelia game that I'm pretty sure he repeated in the NLC at one point, where no matter what, over and over and over again, he would keep going in until he was able to get those kills. But Jace isn't that kind of a champion, right? A lot of these other champs aren't that kind of a champion. It's always been a bit of a gate from Alex. We've heard a lot of bluster about how he actually does play mages, actually. He's not as restricted, but you can see him falling back on those melee-based tendencies, which is why those melee picks are always the most consistent ones for him. He needs to move away from this. This kind of thing happened in the Grand Finals in the NLC with that Yasuo game. He needs to scale it back.
He's going to be dead to rights, you feel here again around the middle. The damage back this time is pretty good, though. And LLS need to think about it. Zumi jumps forwards? That's a mistake. That's the shutdown. Damage onto Bartoli as well, who's nearly out. Katura can quite get it, but the threaded volley, and a Peacemaker gets it. Must extended blast cone away, but he's between two towers. Can he get the recall? Doesn't have the handle. As Alex gets a solo kill on Fruity Fresh. Yeah, maybe he's still dangerous. Doesn't get the reset. Looks to get the barrel roll. Can't quite get it, and dies as well. Ruddy come out with a monster play around the mid lane, and Sumi, you've got to question what that rocket jump forward again was.
Nobody all-ins Alex 7 times in a row as he picks up a kill off to the side there, but Nata and Built are coming through as beacons of consistency. Built didn't have that many carry games last time around, even on stuff like the Riven. But this time around, he's putting on performance.
We're going again. Kiturikan low. Nata's still here. Fast-legged coming out. Elijah's around. The hook back means that's going to be a lot of damage on the fast-legged, who no longer has any legs because they've been broken at the ankles. Alaric now looking to be in danger as it's a Q3 knockback. There's the molten fissure on the floor from Fruity Fresh, and that will dissuade any further ingress. The Severing Bolt prevents Alaric recalling, and they're trying to clear out this tier 1 with Sumi, but the built-over Peacemaker and the Equalizer does so much damage, and Sumi down to 20% HP, 15 seconds on a soul point. They want to keep fighting. Bloody is the name of the game. 21 kills in 16 minutes.
Nata, the team fighting prowess he was able to display so early on in his career, you see how Hui is dangerous. The team fighting potentially showed really early on in his career, the positioning, the ability to find angles of maximum damage in fights, but not just by playing max range and really, really safe. The positioning there was brilliant. You can see it coming out in force in this game. That is the big point of consistency. If Built and Nata can keep having team fights like that, even when Lightside think they have a brilliant engage, then there's a really strong chance of Ruddy to come out ahead here. Lightside, they're able to claim a fart break, but that's pretty much all they're able to get off of that. Ruddy, they're in control of the map. They're actually in control of the game. Alex has full tempo on topside, which means the potential to set up a siege for Ruddy is back on the table.
And all of the attention has gone to Alex, and that's what was been on screen. But quietly, Nata getting a significant lead in the first turret. Bell obviously getting the 1v1s, and Kiturikan has just been farming and farming and farming while Baltoldi is sat mid. And that's meant there's a 40-odd CS lead there, so this is still leading to a nominal gold lead for Ruddy. And the fact is, yes, you can kill Alex, but there's more than one threat on this team. That's what this comp is designed around, is lots of people pressing all their damage buttons at once. It's squishy, yes, but it's still going to do a hell of a lot of damage regardless.
Yes, 100%. I mean, generally you're trading squishiness for damage outside of some unique scenarios in the recent history of League of Legends Clash of Fates. Crucially, though, the damage from Ruddy does come in part and parcel with their ability to group first on waves and force a grouping from their enemy. Flanks destroy the Ruddy machine here, right? You can't allow them to get fresh on sides and then and then flank you from multiple angles and force you to spread yourself spin. You come from that parallel grouping where you're able to have all 5 in a proper line against your opponents. If you're able to do that, you're able to win. If Lightside turn it into perpendicular, it's over before it began. All of your squishiness comes out to the fore there, and none of your collected damage does. And right now, as strong as Caitlyn is, and as strong as Rumble is, how on earth I forgot the name of that champion? I have no idea. It's not going to be enough in that possibility. Yeah, it's being around for a decent amount of time, decent amount of seasons, I guess.
Kind of, I think the other thing is, at this point, I'm so used to seeing the Super Galaxy Rumble, I kind of forget what base Rumble looks like. It's so ubiquitous at Pro. Towards the mid lane we look, as this might well be a bit of a dive. This turret is not long for the world. Still a fair amount of wave clear means LLS is still a little bit scared about stepping off forwards. Nata, though, he's the wrong end of a Fruity Fresh combo. He's chunked out to about 20% HP. Fortunately, has some empowered honey fruit to bring him back up to something resembling healthiness.
Yeah. Bulk opening item on Tristana as well, I think is probably one of the best first items you can do, because as much as you would like to...
Everyone gets out. They were looking for a pick there on either Fruity or Fast-Legged and can't quite make it happen.
And Fruity will have flash up now for that Baron coming in. It would have been really good if they were able to burn that flash and then do an additional wave pre-Baron. But now it looks like Fruity Fresh will have that flash. Sumi will have that flash. So making picks on them is going to be a bit difficult.
I think this Tristana's just dead. Oh my god!
No.
First strike.
He has teleport, and it's only 40 seconds until he's able to get on the Baron, though. So if you're going to do something with that timing, it has to be really fast. Otherwise, they'll still both have flash, and they'll still both be on the objective. Fruity Fresh has TP'd to try to make it a bit harder for Ruddy to start a 20-minute Baron. It's all going to become about this.
Does have, I mean, that once again, Ruddy are the ones that kind of control the waves. It's what Sumi was trying to do, was force for that tier 2 and get the wave control that Ruddy have been so adamant about trying to gain. Perhaps to their own detriment in mid lane. Of course, the amount of deaths on Alex's scorecard right now, largely as a result of him shoving a little too to par and a little too greedily. Lord of the Rings references abound.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Have you ever done, like, a marathon in the cinema?
I've not done it in the cinema. I've done it at home. I think I did a couple of Marvel movies at some point, but not a proper, like, Lord of the Rings marathon or whatever.
Sincerely recommend it. It's a brilliant experience. Just also because everyone else in the cinema is like a big fan, and you just have really fun conversations when you're there, you know?
It's like a really good time. I've done it with friends and stuff. We'll have popcorn and beers and stuff around, had a good time with that. But never done it out in a kind of like public event.
Anyway, now is the big moment. Right? How do we play this Baron as Ruddy? Because ideally you don't want to be playing as bait everybody in towards Baron and just make a really huge pick. You do want to be playing in these lanes, in these elongated laning phases. You are in the position though where Fruity Fresh and Stingy both have flash.
Damage back is huge. Everyone trades relatively evenly, but Bertoldi is coming down and there's no teleport to support. Alex can speed himself up, but needs to be very afraid of the flash and the body slam and a very dead Jace, trying to space himself well here. Dodges the body slam. That's not bad feat, but there's just not enough there. All the while, though, everybody roaming to kill the Jace means they'll tier 2 in top lane will fall.
Who isn't afraid of the flash, though, really? One of the most broken powers, the ability to just destroy any franchises apart. As Ruddy get full priority on top side here and towards Baron, and even though light side think they have good tempo on bot, if you do have a real threat of Baron at play here, you're willing to just give up the inhibitor for it, right? So this isn't a real threat by light side on bot. They do have to lean in towards the grouping. They're never realistically going to start hitting tier 3, because at that point, Caitlyn and Rumble just start doing the Baron. I will remember your name eventually, Rumble. And the game is going to be won.
Timeline's looking a little dicey here for Ruddy as they kind of once again get caught out on the sideline. Again, they're not doing too badly per se, but this is now a consistent issue. They are struggling to keep the Jace safe, frankly, because there isn't a teleport on built. And Turrican on the Talia hasn't really been walling defensively, looking for the picks, which makes sense. But it has been Alex that has largely been suffering the brunt of the responses from light side.
Yep. Teemo off to the side here. I mean, Rumble can just play straight front to back. True. There's Tristana right here, who could also be a significant threat.
In despair, isn't stopwatch. Turrican goes too early on it,
even
so still gets chunked. Damage back
yeah.
on the Rumble. The damage back is huge. But wait, Bertoldi has to go golden himself, but that means it's into a Caitlyn. Oh! Trap down! Golden versus Caitlyn's always a mistake. a 1-for-1 right now, but the health bars for Lightside are atrocious. Nata has to flash away as the Q3 lands. Everyone backs away. Both supports end up falling. The shot blast lands. The ace in the hole is footwork shielded to keep people alive.
Fruity Fresh still with the flash though, right? Still has an element of safety going into the next fight, and this Baron is not going to be taken by either side right now. Caitlyn, Jace, Rumble don't believe they have the damage enough to fight what they don't necessarily know is coming in. They don't have full control of jungle's side, so best to see what happens on the next round. That flash burn on the Nata could come back to bite them, the flash burn on the build could come back to bite them, but crucially, the fact that build on that Yuumi wasn't able to deal enough damage onto Fruity Fresh as soon as to burn their flashes
so dead, mate.
is going to be a cause for concern as we get late into the game. The Locket paying severe dividends for Lightside right now.
Can I get another color caster? I'm not going to be able to take this for another game. This is ridiculous. As the Poppy top lane continues to be a problem. Oh, wow. Well, here we are. Every other Yordle in the game gets mentioned aside from He Who Shall Not Be. And Alex manages to clear out another wave and is continuing to still get items at least. He's just being picked off a lot in the Baron. Bit of a risky prospect for either team. I don't think either team wants to get caught in the pit. The Wombo combo CC from a light side, really brutal. On the other side, just the range poke from red side, difficult to manage as well as from the Ruddy men side as well.
They want to try to control Lightside in towards a lane, though. If they get forced in towards the river area, then the Sunflow with their poke is much easier to dodge. You want to funnel these guys, preferably on the tower. That's the easiest area to start landing all of your skill shots out over and over and over and have the maximum amount of threat. Lightside are very comfortable with this particular position, where they have the priority to bait in towards Baron over and over again. They do have to start it at some point, though, right? But if they start it, they're the guys with the turn. They're the guys with the all-in. They're the guys with the burst damage. They are the guys that can make it work best in that scenario. You have a lane-focused team, and you have a jungle and river-focused team. This is how to think about the relative strengths of both teams right now in terms of the setups that they would prefer. Right now, they're just feeding into Lightside's, I have no idea how to end that sentence, pocket or whatever.
Yeah, their kind of zone of control, or I suppose not control, but zone of, like, threat, I guess. This is kind of like a bit of a strike zone for them.
Yeah, this is better, but you can see how much better it would be if they could get them under tower.
The wall away is an interesting choice. It actually puts the K'Sante in a slightly awkward position. Flash from Alex to get out to safety. Teleport pop behind the cat, the trench line into the equalizer. It's dangerous! Goes Goldie to Bartoli, but I don't think it's going to keep him alive. It does not. The despair instead is Lightside. Alex! Make it a Danganronpa
Doesn't
reference.
have flash.
Alex can't jump on Fruity Fresh.
Yeah, and even if he could...
Oh him.
No!
Sorry, I apologize. It's a Severing Bolt. That's the name of it. Got the ability name wrong, but the champion correct. Fruity gets one back. A wonderful snipe. Blind, I believe, as well. Alex gonna be holding his head in his hands after that one.
The fight started so well for Ruddy as well, right? It looked like Parholi had gone too far through. Built landing a ridiculously good zoning Ballas ultimate to force everybody else off, and they were able to eliminate the Gragas, but unfortunately, as the fight extended, you could see the issue. Fruity Fresh doesn't burn that flash. Sumi barely had to burn anything at all. They're a really, really safe team if they're able to get their all-in scenario. And unfortunately, Ruddy, if they can't get their pressure and their grouping, it's a bit of an issue.
They're going to jump Baron. They know the resets are going to be a little late. They're going to try and start this one off. That's all the way Blue Train. Kitsumi's coming on over, but will now be a known quantity. Here we go. Ruddy have decided they want to flip this. Should get burned down relatively fast, but they decide against it as people start to turn up. Nata takes half their HP to the Baron autos, though. Forty has a Honey Fruit behind him, so should be okay-ish.
Yep, as they move away from the Baron, but I could understand wanting to get that Baron because then all of the issues that we just talked about, they kind of solve themselves, right? Unless you're able to get flanked, and so they just have to make sure they clear vision properly on the way up and that they are conscientious of side lane opportunities, then you're going to get that siege on the tower that you really want, that bottlenecks Lightside into a position where you get to play a poke composition. That's what this fundamentally is. Poke compositions want to play forward. That's why you don't typically see them. Poke compositions rely on a level of tempo that you don't necessarily get. You can't just play a kind of defensive game like you can with an all-in. But even if you are an all-in composition, it's not like you don't benefit from those same bottlenecks. It's much easier for Lightside to push an advantage than it is for Ruddy to play defensive. And the reverse is not true the other way around.
Back towards the Baron, Ruddy go. That tier 2 finally fell in mid, and the game remains pretty close gold-wise. Map-wise, It's been a bit of a push and pull. One moment it feels like one team's got an edge, and the next it's gone back the other way. Sumi thinking of jumping onto Rumble. Gets a fair amount of chunk of this. Happens later on versus the Rumble. Got a Zhonya's, or he doesn't have a Zhonya's, just dies. So there's nothing to be done, and Sumi gets the solo.
Yep, I mean, built on that Tryndamere, realizing he's not necessarily that strong into the range of the Tristana yet. But he'll get there eventually.
Sumi playing such a good game on the Tristana as well, has, with the exception possibly of shoving that tier 2 topside, been such a nightmare to manage, getting solo kills on Alex, on Bill.
Yeah.
A little bit of assist
Crucially though,
like
they needed that pressure on bot, right? They need a pressure on side so that they can start setting up their siege. They need to set up their groupings. These double aggression plays I like to talk about, they don't necessarily exist on this lineup. It's a very difficult situation for them now as Lightside are like, please come in. We have AoE out the wazoo. We have damage and engage out the wazoo. We want you to come into these positions. That's where we win our fights.
Miz, they're trying to bait them in, and Alex is going, no, thanks for sitting in a barrel. Let me shoot you a few more times.
Yep, not happening here. It's too wide. It's too wide the surface for him to be able to consistently land these. There's so much freedom on the side of Lightside. Also, if you get those pushes out. I mean, Sumi's just going to land this, but Ruddy don't have the consistent engage.
I don't know about that wall. That feels a little bit old. And Sumi just gets to hop away. Ruddy feeling like they're clutching at straws here a little bit in terms of the proactive plays they can make.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have the setup for that, right? They don't have the Rel, they don't have the Hwei, they don't have the Gragas.
Alaric just about to die. The Spiraling Despair after his flash-legged. Tries to go to the Nata, and Sumi just buster shots them into the dirt. Bartoldi picks up one after as well. And Lightside at this point, who needs a Baron? You can just shove through mid, you've killed 3.
I mean, trying to delay for an extra wave, but these guys just have enough to tank that tower easily. I wonder if they'll go for tier 2. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure they're just going to go for the tier 3 topside and get 2 inhibitors down for one of the easiest setup plays. It's 2 minutes until the Drake Soul comes up on bot side, but realistically, Lightside are looking to close much earlier as Built on the Singed can just stare as the minions move into his base and the base chips away bit by bit.
And now it feels like Ruddy's team comp is somewhat crumbled. A siege comp, a poke comp from behind. Not a particular time, but actually, that's pretty solid, but there's more than 2 people there! Wait, the rest are Ruddy trying to get on up here. Big damage back. Alex throwing some big autos out. Gets the kill. That's one back. And now actually, this could prove problematic, because look what's still up. Baron and the resets have not come through. Can they get behind it? Can the Talia get on over? The minion wave is murdering Alex. He's got a teleport to work with. Hex Flash over the wall, can continue to keep looking. Fruity Fresh has no mana. Does have the teleport if they can get a reset off. But they're just turning straight back towards the Baron. Here we go.
Yep, and this Baron again has been completely necessary for them to be able to set up their big front-to-back sieges that they want in. And Lightside know it. Lightside know it's worth giving your life up for this. Let's see what they do. Hwei and Tristana coming in hot. Fruity Fresh still with the flash. Hasn't been burnt pretty much the whole game. They nab it.
Cone available. Nata cleanses, gets over the wall. No! Doesn't! Q3 out of the blast cone! It's a Tutor, but the burn is huge! The damage back with that spiraling despair into a severing bolt! Seals the deal! Ruddy thought they maybe found the angle, but it just wasn't enough. They cannot escape the Baron pair. They cannot escape the artist who is baiting in the blood of his enemies. Fruity Fresh murders them all, and they'll march their way into the base. Alex has to do something unthinkable and hold on to the base, but he's just not got it in him.
No teleport on the Cassante though, so he won't be able to come in here on full HP, and they don't exactly have big power take. It's only 20 seconds until Nata, 8 seconds until Alaric. Maybe he may have to give his life for it. Fast-legged wants to make a fast play happen here. He has to dive. He has to all in. He gets it.
Tries to get a knockback, but the hammer blow's not enough. Alaric's up for 6 seconds on Nata. They've got to try and hold it down. Gets an ignite onto Elijah. Still so much damage. Fruity Fresh. Not the quickest tower taker. They can't finish the game despite the win at the Baron pit after the Baron went down. Ace in the hole, Chunks, fruity! My God, the Caitlyn late game damage.
Now the big question is this enough for them to be able to get the break on the next reset, or is Red Slide going to think maybe we can go and rush it? I think it would be a big risk for them to move it in towards a Drake Fist right now. It would be very, very bold, yes, but these are the kind of decisions they have to make. I fully agree with their decision to go and rush the Baron. If you don't do that, you're just going to slowly lose out on the game. They need to take the reins back on the game, but it's such a difficult composition to play from behind, as we've been discussing. And as you've been seeing from the results of the game, good job by Lightside to not just go quietly, to actually force over and over again, even at points where it could have been a 50-50, that is just naturally there to come in with, and you've got the high kill game that we were talking about beforehand. This is just how these two kinds of lineup will characteristically play on these compositions. You necessarily must play like this. You don't really have any other options in-game to do, and thus, in those pressures, that's how you end up in this kind of a scenario.
The game goes on. Buddy hold on by the skin of their teeth. Lightside caught on the recalls by Alex, who's had a pretty substandard game by their standards. Caught out too many times. I'm sure we'll see that in review from the coaches, but Buddy do anything to hold on. Still down an Nexus Tower, down 2 inhibitors. They'll respawn in about a minute, just over.
Yep.
LLS are the ones with the siege. They're trying to get onto the final inhibitor turret, and then the super minions would really start pouring in.
Can Alex find an all-in? Can Alaric on that Nautilus get a big art to carry them in? Can Bilk's Ribbon carry them under the tower? Fruity Fresh hurts right now.
Nata knocked away. Bartoli goes golden. He's just dead. He's on a trap again.
Caitlyn is strong.
Oh,
I think, did he land on the trap there?
I think... Oh, no, yes, he did, because he's just replacing it now.
Oh. He's quite satisfying to feel the trap.
Ow. And at this point as well, the thing is, yes, the Jace has not had an easy time, but that is a Caitlyn at level 17 and 4 items. I don't know whether anybody follows former NLC champion Den Voxney on Twitter, but he posted a clip where he one-shot them with a headshot recently.
Yes.
Caitlyn has been doing the rounds right now in solo queue, and whether Nata can pull that off in the late game, just maybe that'll be enough to keep people alive and hope alive for Ruddy.
46k damage in that game, I believe it was. Shout out to them Voxney playing with Matchco over in Italian League. Not even very close right now, to be honest. Absolutely stomping.
Over we go. Baron spawning. A little while yet. The timer again, just a little bit behind. So we're expecting probably another half, 2 minutes before that one comes on up. Your eyes on the minimap for that timer. I certainly will try and give everyone a bit of a note when that's happening. You can see already both teams trying to wrestle control of the area over. Ruddy make one more mistake and the game is over, but the amount of damage Ruddy have, if Lightside make a mistake and the Waves are in a bad position, the game could end that side as well. We are edging towards that one final cataclysmic fight. May well decide everything.
Yeah, I mean, Ruddy, they're not going down lightly. It's just very difficult for them to set up anything guaranteed. A lot of individual things have to go correct for them. Lightside almost have to isolate themselves, but if it comes to group on group, you have to think if Lightside pull the trigger, it favors them somewhat. And they do keep leaning back in towards these jungle areas, in towards these river areas. They're not giving Ruddy an extended period. The last time that they did give them an extended period in lane, honestly, every time, Ruddy has been able to find a kill or two if they get an extended period in lane. So Lightside are just tending further and further away from that. And whereas they do have a soul, let's be real, Heart Drake is not the most useful soul in the game in terms of statistics, and especially not really in this one. It's the Elder in 250 that we're really worried about if we're Ruddy, and so Lightside want to be playing for that top inhibitor to create a big split decision from Ruddy in a defensive manner. Then maybe they can get an advantage on that Elder and look to utilize the Elder to play even more aggressively than they are right now. The effective HP advantage that they'll have.
Sumi, 5 items plus boots, is basically a Zephyr upgrade away from being full build. Reminder, your boots upgrade at this point. It's a new part of the itemization that came in with all the mid-season changes. Towards the mid lane we go. It's Ruddy there with the range advantage, trying to find what incidental damage they can, but Elijah at this point so obnoxious. The problem is Fruity Fresh is able to return the favor pretty well as well on this way. Hexflash was Alaric built here, fast leg gets jumped on. That's a bit bold. Alaric though jumped, the shot blast after solid, trying to get the damage back onto the Nautilus. He's pretty tanky at this point of the game. Hooks away, staying alive. And everyone on the retreat continuing to chase, built in a slightly awkward position. No one dies. Everyone a little bit afraid to over-engage. Ow.
Yeah, I mean, with that Rumble Ultimate, it was definitely a run for your life angle. Next rotation maybe be better, but you're feeling a little bit less pressure when it comes to this Baron now. You're just waiting for Fruity Fresh to get that flash up and you're completely safe. But the lack of Rumble Ultimate, that's definitely gonna matter. Level 18 gets hit on build.
Traps come out, and once again, you're seeing the joys of being red side for Ruddy in this scenario. You can still threaten from the safety of the behind the Baron pit. Just throw out shot blasts and Talia Qs and all the rest of the poke. The easiest to safely start up the Baron for light side.
Yeah, I mean, you have to bear in mind, though, Ruddy coming in second on that Baron, if light side are doing the Baron, is not the worst position for them if they get their poke out. It's just that if they put themselves in a significant range, Lightside do just have the engage tools to kill off, especially if all of their flashes up. That's the big problem. But a sustained poke around that objective, Lightside really have to commit when they start doing it to, if they show, we turn. And if Lightside turn, they'll win. If they hesitate at all, Ruddy can get an advantage. It's not completely doomed if Lightside get priority in the objectives, as seen by Lightside's unwillingness to straight start the objectives. They are worried about that scenario.
Oh, not again. He's looking for a flag. He gets jumped. Buster shot it back in. And in secondaries, but the AD carry.
Oh my god, look at Baron. Look at Baron!
The Baron's being run. They're teleporting over. They are now in a dangerous proposition. It's going to get burnt down so very, very fast. Sumi's teleported in, but now he's actually in a spot where Alex was a moment ago. It's just the damage is brutal. Nata dies. They're going to try and jump onto the Tristana, but I think now the damage back is still huge. They realize they've got to find something here, or they're going to be two members down as Elder spawning. Jumps forwards. He's going to go for another one. The bomb timer is pretty huge. Finally falls. Katurikan holds. It ends up being a 2-for-1 with Baron. The Elder will fall, though.
Yeah, Elder's going to be a really big thing. Like, yes, Ruddy do have the potential to serve the siege now. No inhibitor has been taken. But on that, what is the counterplay to those sieges? It is a straight hard engage by Lightside, and the Elder makes that scenario even better. Ruddy will essentially deliver a possible team fight in towards Lightside, so Ruddy still have to play that much better in this circumstance, given the drop.
8 seconds on Alex, 15 on Nata. The teleports come on through. They've got one Nexus turret remaining. How far do Lightside want to push it?
They have Elder. Like, they can force the fight. They should feel comfortable about it. But they still have to feel like they're on the back foot. They have no inhibitors now, so setting up a siege is not an easy feat for them. And even if they did, the engage potential on an Elder Lightside's insane. The Elder effectively cancels out any overlapping time between that Baron and that Elder for Lightside, leaving the amount of wave Lightside have to play against the Baron very, very low, especially if you take into account the fact that they've taken the inhibitors. The Baron doesn't really exist in this game. If anything, they've denied Lightside the Baron, but they haven't really gotten a Baron play for themselves. This looks like a very difficult game for Ruddy to try to pull back.
On the other side for Lightside is, you don't have a Baron to try and end the game yourself, and you're not going to get that much value out of the Elder because of where Sumi died. Gonna have perhaps another 30, about a minute left on that Elder. A little bit of time matched on the Baron, so trying to hold that one. In fact, the time was on my screen. It's just because it's coloured in purple. I went, oh, that's the Baron timer. Like, nope, it's just on the wrong side of the screen because, of course, it's Ruddy with the Baron. Now grouping up, got waves of super minions and a single Nexus turret remaining. Might try and end it regardless. Hold on to your horses, people. This might be it.
Still just a staring contest. And theoretically, Ruddy should win staring contests, but Lightside, if they ever decide to pull the trigger, that should just be their game, and Ruddy have to account for that. They can't just output tons of DPS over and over and over again. Look at those effective health bars now on the side of Ruddy. There's the Elder spawns in. Let's see if Lightside do something.
The wall to keep the wave away.
They don't want to do it.
The Nexus turret is gone because the bomb does obscene amounts of work. A 5,000 gold lead individually for Sumi. So fed for so long. The cast doesn't quite get Alex down to execute threshold. This is about to turn around. The down is back. Good 4 seconds left on the Elder. And it's just in time. Lightside find the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's them driving forwards in a freight train. Ruddy fall.
Yep, and NLC Vigil in the mid lane there on the Tristana. Absolutely phenomenal performance by him. Shout outs to Sumi, I think that's going to be a quite clear MVP, but Fruity Fresh, the amount of time he was able to spend not burning his flash while dealing significant damage and catching out multiple members of Ruddy, absolute shout out to him as well for that performance.
And that game was such a wild experience because I don't think either team necessarily managed to wear the crown lightly when they had leads or not, and some of the comebacks were so big, but Ruddy holding on against the fact they were down 2 inhibitors in the map state, credit to them, but the fact they got into that state, that's all Light Side playing so well, and some overshoves from Alex did so well. Enough from us though, we've got a desk to break that one down further. We'll see you in a few minutes as Archeron takes it away from there.
Shockwave! What a Gnarls! Oh my word! They are melted! They are down! A wipe coming in from the side of Light Side. Both of them now gone. The soul has been denied, but the fight not yet decided. Len in the front line though takes so much damage in the back line. Yankee having fun with his opponents. Triple kill for Rusty Sniper.
Finds the re-engage into the multi-man counter-strike.
Lenny's going for it. Gives the free man in the jump. Duvak stealing form after form. Raptors going down. EMP can't deal with Deadhound as they crumble.
The pick in the clutch when it needed to happen. Torrent jumping back in. Booty able to know where to. Here comes Ed with the multi-man drowsy. It's mounted soul for Ruddy. And here comes the Ezreal. Torrent has already been able to take out the enemy support. But the damage from Ruddy is too much. Silky Smath, do the math, Light Side. There's too many people here for you to handle.